The question that every prospective candidate and Marine Corps officer asks themselves is, how do I get selected for OCS? In this video, I'm going to go over what I did to make myself a competitive applicant, and what I feel like you can do in order to increase your chances on OCS selection. So first, I want to go through the actual qualifications. Depending on what course you take, whether that's OCC, PLC, or the reserves, there are certain qualifications that every applicant must have. First, you have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be 17 years of age, at least, and younger than 27 on the 31st of December of that year. You have to be a high school graduate, and you have to have some type of college qualification, whether you're in college and you're going to a 4-year degree or you already have your 4-year degree. And you also have to display the physical and the mental attributes necessary in order to be a successful candidate at OCS. There are certain other factors that may come into play, such as criminal history, an excess amount of tickets, tattoos, things like that. But most of these things, they can be bypassed through waivers of some sort. And if you have one of these issues, or you have a question on, okay, am I even qualified to do this? Instead of just giving up and assuming like, no, I can't do it, go and talk to what is called an OSO. Now, an OSO, or Officer Selection Officer, is going to be your first step and your main liaison for this process. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, probably most of you know or have been in contact with an OSO. Your OSO is going to help you with everything, your physical, your mental, all the preparation that you need for OCS. And they're also going to be the one that's representing you on the selection board whenever you go there in order to be selected for OCS. Now, the biggest thing that I think all OSOs will say is that you have to show that you have the want and the desire to actually want to be a Marine Corps officer. And I'd say that's probably the most important thing. Do you want it? If you truly want it and you have the discipline and the motivation to do it, I think that's probably the biggest factor, because everything else is going to go into place. Everything else being your PFT scores, your CFT scores, your academics, and also just showing like, hey, I'm committed. Because your OSO is really going to be your main advocate during these boards on saying, hey, here's the profile of this particular applicant, and this is what I think of this particular applicant. I know my OSO out of Raleigh, North Carolina, he ranked us all from like 1 to blah, 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 and showed that on the board of like, hey, this is my top candidate, or this is my 3 out of 20th candidate, and this is why they should get selected. So yeah, I'd say another big thing is just having that good relationship with your OSO. And that gets into my next point of what should you do with your relationship with your OSO. I'd say the biggest thing that any OSO wants to see, in my experience, is that you are committed to being a Marine officer. And that means going to all the OSO events, being physically prepared. Anytime they have an opportunity to do a PFT or a CFT, you show up and you show out. I think that's going to do a lot in order to help your chances of getting selected, because your OSO is going to see how much work you're putting in. They're going to see you progress, and they're going to see, hey, this dude's committed. Many times it was not the top OSO candidate that I saw was not the dude who had the highest PFT score or the greatest academics or what have you. It was just the dude who wanted it the most. And that want and that desire and that discipline, that motivation to want to succeed, that will translate directly into OCS and being a successful candidate. When times get tough, how bad do you want it? But no one can doubt on the individual board the importance of a high PFT score and high academic score, meaning a GPA. My PFT score, whenever I did my board, I had a perfect 300, and at that point my GPA was a 4.0. And so I felt very confident with these perfect scores that I was going to get selected. That does not mean you have to be the same or even have anywhere near a perfect score for my case. My personality, I wanted to make sure there were no doubts whenever I went on the board that I was going to get selected. And so that's why I, went and desired to have these high scores. But from my experience, the average just seeing OCS candidates, the average scores that I saw was anywhere from a 270 plus to a 280. And I think with a 270 plus, you're going to be around the above the 50%. And these are not actual statistics. This was just my experience. As far as a GPA, I think as long as you have above a 3.0, you'll be fine. But a lot of candidates I saw did not have anywhere near a close to a 4.0 or a 3.5, and I saw some as low as a 2.3. So again, that's where if you have these low scores, showing that you're motivated, showing that you're committed, showing that you're disciplined, that's where it really matters. But if you have higher scores, doing all those things, of course you should do them, but that's just going to make yourself that much better. To the last aspect of your application that I think is crucial in order to increase your chances for selection, and that's your letters of recommendation. Your letters of recommendation are extremely important, and I think if you have good letters of recommendations, especially if you have VIP recommenders, which I think a VIP is an 06 and above and a Sergeant Major or Master Guns, and then comparable to the other branches, those are really going to stick out. Also, senators, congressmen and women, any type of political leader that works at the federal level or even the state level, these are very important. And from a lot of these, they can be pretty easy to get if you just contact your senator or contact your representative. Most of the time they will reach out and tell you if they can or can't write you a letter of recommendation. I know for my application, I think I had a colonel write me a letter of recommendation, and then I had my state senator also write me a letter of recommendation, and then like a professor or something. This is very important. Fostering those good relationships, trying to get someone who can talk on your character, and then someone with a little bit of title too. And so there's kind of a push and pull with that on how well they know you, and then how high in status they are. And hopefully maybe you have someone who knows you very well and is extremely high in status. So that's just going to make your application that much better, and that's a very important part of the selection process. But the most important part of getting selected for OCS, again, as I prefaced, is showing that you're disciplined, showing that you want it. So many people at OCS, they will have perfect scores, great physical fitness, just an all-around stud, but they can't go over just the slight inconvenience or the slight difficulty that you'll face, and therefore they'll quit. I have seen people who do not have the highest physical fitness, are not the smartest individuals, but they have the want to succeed, and they are successful. And that's the same thing in everything, especially in the military. The person who wants it, the person who's motivated, the person who's dedicated, and is just a good dude, they will always be more successful than the one who's falsely motivated, no matter how talented they may be naturally. So I'd say, how do you get selected for OCS? Be a good dude. Work your ass off, struggle, suffer at times, but always know this is what you want. And if you want it, and you want the honor to be a Marine officer and lead Marines, you'll get it if you say you will. And if I could give myself the advice back whenever I was doing this over 3 or 4 years ago, that's what I would have told myself. Don't worry, you want it, and because you want it, you will be successful. And I don't know if I would have listened to myself back then, but that would have been the best piece of advice I could have given myself back then. So good luck with all of y'all. I hope y'all, keep working hard. I hope every one of you get what you want, and I look forward to serving along each and every one of you. Comment, like this video. If you have any suggestions on what else I should do, please leave them down below. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a great day.